Hey guys, what's going on? MG22 here from Darkest Gamers, and I am here with some news, some Hearthstone news. It was announced today that there's a new way to play coming in 2016. This mode, let me bring it up. I am really unprepared. Okay, so basically, there's gonna be a new format because there's been a lot of problems. Not right now, but in the future, which they saw coming, and I saw coming. I predicted this, I don't know, 3, 4 months ago, that it needed a format. So it's taken things like, it's taken ideas from Yu-Gi-Oh!, from Magic the Gathering, and the way it's going to work is the new format is going to be called Standard. In Standard, the new format play mode that allows players going head to head using only the most recently released Hearthstone cards. So I believe you can use any cards from any set in Standard mode from 2 years. If it's been longer than 2 years, they will be cycled out, and all the new expansions will be cycled in. It's a lot like Magic the Gathering, how you can't uh, you can't use a lot, and Magic the Gathering's huge. There's probably millions of different cards. You can't use probably 3/4 of those cards because they've been cycled out. They might get cycled back in again if the need arises for it. So, um, most recently, Hearthstone cards. You'll play standard using a deck built solely from pooled cards that were released in the current and previous calendar year, along with a core foundation of the basic and classic cards, which will always be available. And you'll be matched against other players who are also using standard decks, obviously. Standard promises a fresher Hearthstone experience, so it's gonna shake the fuck out of the meta game, let's be honest here. Because people have got their decks. They've got set decks that they've been using for 2 years since Nexramus, since Goblins vs. Gnomes has come out. Um, and a select set of cards. They want the cards to have more impact, which it will in this new mode. The developers will have more freedom to design exciting new cards because they won't have to, with standard and with them cycling out old expansions, which I agree with completely. Because if you take out old expansions, if you remove cards, like create like a ban list, say nope, you can't use these cards anymore. There is a mode which I'll go into a little bit later where you can use any cards you want, but this is the one that will be used for tournaments. Standard will be the one used for tournaments. So it's basically to shake up the metagame, to force people not just to play the same decks over and over and over again, and to play the really overpowered decks, the ones where you have to put a lot of money into. This one's forcing players to experiment with the game, to come up with new fun decks, to come up with different ideas, which I love. Um, it also lets the newer players jump in faster without having to craft overpowered cards because there won't be any because they're going to nerf some. They're going to cycle out any really overpowered cards from 2 years older. Uh, okay, so now what I was saying about the other mode. The mode that we have now, the ranked mode that we have now, will become wild. Wild will be wild. It's a new name. Wild. Well, it's just going to be called Wild. Wild is a new name for the Hearthstone that you already know. It'll be the format where anything can happen. So you'll be able to use cards from any set, from the creation of Hearthstone to the latest set. It's basically what we've got now, but they've just renamed it and they've given standard to this new format, which I like. With the ranking up during each season, you'll be able to choose between whether you play standard or wild. It's your choice. You can play both if you want. You'll have a separate rank for each format. So if you want to hit legend in both, you can. But you'll only collect ranked rewards for the game mode. So either standard or wild on what you did best. So the one that you did best in, the highest rank you achieved, out of the two, that's what you'll get the rewards for. Uh, let's see. Okay, so uh, Hearthstone has started doing a zodiac. So this year is the year of the Kraken, which I'm guessing will not be, um, which might be a hint towards the expansion that comes out this year. It might be sea based or something like that. So the sets, once this update gets released and once all this gets released, will the sets that you will be able to use are basic, classic, Blackrock Mountain, the Grand Tournament, the League of Explorers, and the Spring 2016 expansion, which hasn't been named yet, obviously. Curse of Dexramus and Goblins and Nodes will not be part of standard because they're 2 years old. They're 2 years old, so they're being cycled out. When they release the first new expansion of the year, every set that wasn't in the same year or the year prior will be cycled out. So basically, Curse Naxxramas Goblins, that's now 2 years old. They'll be cycled. Those cards will not be allowed in standard. They'll be cycled out. Now, to make up for this, to make up for anyone who's got cards from GVG, Curse Naxxramas, who don't want to play Wild, who don't want to play the old one, they just want to focus on standard because that's where all the tournament, that's the rules that the tournament's going to follow. You can dust your cards for the original value that you used to craft them. So for a legendary, if you dust it, you'll get 400 dust from it, usually. So say once this update comes out and these cards are no longer valid, you can dust from GVG. So Doctor Boom, one of the most used legendaries, the most craft worthy legendaries, because there's 1600 to craft them. He will not be available in standard, which means as soon as this happens, dust him because you'll have a couple weeks to dust it for the original value you spent. So 1600 dust, you'll be able to craft a new legendary from the new expansion. And if GVG Goblins versus Gnomes ever gets cycled back in, and you can use Octoboom again, then you can just craft them again. And if you want to save that dust for that day, then you can, and it'll be free. But as soon as these excuse me, as soon as these updates happen, dust any cards from GVG that you don't want. You'll get any legendaries from GVG. You'll get your dust back. So all 1600 dust, and you'll be able to craft a brand new. And other than that, I think that'll be it. So some players will just want to keep playing Wild, and that's fine. I myself, I'll probably be playing a shitload of Standard because I love the fact that it's going to be cycled out and people are going to be forced to play new decks and create new ideas and not just have the same deck just tweaked a little bit every couple weeks. So it's going to be good. I'm really happy for it. I think. Have I missed anything? Oh yeah, we've now got fucking new deck slots. It's gone from 9. If you have all 9 heroes unlocked, which I do, you've gone from 9 deck slots up to 18, motherfuckers.